Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. We all know St. John Paul II's statement that in the providence of God there is no such thing as coincidence. It was therefore no coincidence that last Saturday was the feast of the exaltation of the Holy Cross, and then the Gospel of the Sunday included, among other things, Jesus telling his disciples that he would be crucified, suffer and die, and that all who follow him must take up our own cross. Benedict XVI reminded us in one of his writings that for the early Christians, after recovering from what might be called the scandal of the cross, they saw the cross as a banner of victory. As an army marched into battle with its colours, so Christians went forward into the battle of life with the cross as their sign of hope. He makes one very profound point. As the centuries have gone by, we've tended to look backwards to the cross, to Good Friday and even the feast last Saturday, and there's nothing wrong with that remembrance. But he says for those early Christians, the cross was a sign of the future, a sign of victory and hope, going where Christ went, following where Christ went. There is, as with so much of our faith, paradox layered upon paradox, but I think the heart of the mystery of the cross is that critical question Jesus asked his disciples before he told them of his suffering and death, and before he told each one of us that we too would carry our cross. The question, "Who do you say that I am?" is at the centre of a Christian life. It's also, interestingly enough, the very crux of the article I discussed with you last week about the crisis of unbelief in the West. We know the disciples' response. It is what some people say. Today is no different. He's a great preacher, wise guide, guru, kind teddy bear, or from the other side, false prophet and hated figure. There will be no true evangelization, no battle against the crisis of unbelief, if we do not know who Jesus is and vigorously proclaim him as the way, the truth, and the life. We must know that there is no other name under heaven by which we shall be saved, despite what others might say. If we do not know who Jesus is, affirmed by the earliest councils and the constant faith of the Church, then St. Paul says that the cross is indeed a stumbling block for the Jews and foolishness for the Greeks. Why did the martyrs die and continue to die if Jesus is not who he says he is, and who Peter, speaking for all the disciples, identified? We can never forget the powerful words of C.S. Lewis that Jesus was either mad, bad, or who he said he was. When we know who Jesus is, radically know to our heart, the cross doesn't then make sense in the way that we might understand a logical formula or argument, but we believe in Jesus' word that it was necessary. Taking up our cross then becomes not easy, but bearable. Even transformative suffering, even terrible suffering, becomes bearable and transformative by knowing who the Lord is, the King of heaven and earth. Where Jesus has gone, we will follow. The cross then becomes our sign of victory, our banner of hope, and our standard for battle. Brethren, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, like a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.